reports of massive encroachment of public land, prompting fears of huge corruption involving government officials and alleged land mafias. Despite a series of jaw-dropping revelations, the government has significantly delayed the formation of a commission to probe into cases of land encroachment, putting a big question mark on the very intent of the government to deal with the cases. Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanama and these are the headlines of the hour. The government works fall far short from its big promises of infrastructure development as announced in the annual policies and programs. The delay in the formation of a commission to probe into the cases of land encroachment raises doubt on the very intention of the government to deal with the case. At least 65 migrants were killed when their boat capsized in the Mediterranean coast of Tunisia. The UN Refugee Agency says 16 people rescued. And Chennai tamed Delhi Capitals in the second qualifier of the Indian Premier League, set up title clash against Mumbai Indians on Sunday night. The government unveiled its ambitious plan of expediting large-scale infrastructure projects in its policies and programs for the upcoming fiscal year. The flamboyant projects like waterway, railway and tunnelway have also made it to the list. However, the government has failed to make any progress regarding the works of more than 900 road sections and bridges across the country that have remained stranded and dilapidated for years. The tender for the construction of 12 kilometers road section from Kathmandu's Chabahil to Sakhu was granted around 4 years ago. The road section, however, has remained in a sorry state as of yet to the persistent difficulty of the capital residents. The locals in the area even took to streets on Thursday, unable to bear the brunt of dust pollution and difficulty in transportation on a daily basis. The Tripureshwar to Thankot road section, among others across the country, have also been going through the same plight. The preliminary contracts of majority of road development projects have come to an end. Many road sections have been left damaged and unattended, while the overall infrastructure development has turned seemingly hopeless. The projects worth billions of rupees have been stranded for more than a decade now, merely due to the lack of effective monitoring, along with irregularities borne by illicit nexus between the concerned government officials and contractors. It is ironical on the part of the government to exhibit glossy development promises at a time when even the basic infrastructures like roads have remained in a dilapidated state for years. This also indicates that the government either has no proper planning or preparation, or it is simply unaware about the aspects it should be prioritizing in the meantime. Proper planning in this regard should be in place to ensure a sustainable and effective national development by getting the things done that directly affect the public life in the first place. Speaker Krishna Bahadur Mahara has issued a directive to remove the words and phrases deemed contrary to the dignity of the Parliament from Parliamentary Archive. Speaker Mahara has directed to exclude all such expressions from the records that were made during the question and answer session held last Tuesday between the Prime Minister and lawmakers over the government's policies and programs. The Speaker issued the directive as soon as the commencement of the meeting of House of Representatives yesterday. Meanwhile, lawmaker of the ruling Nepal Communist Party, Khagaraj Adhikari, demanded to remove the words used by opposition lawmakers while floating their questions to the Prime Minister, which he said were against the parliamentary norms. Speaker Mahara then directed to remove the words used by the lawmakers as well from the parliamentary archive. At Tuesday's meeting, Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli had objected to the words used by lawmakers against President Vidya Devi Bhandari. The opposition lawmakers had expressed discontent against the phrase "my government" while unveiling the government's policies and programs. Prime Minister Oli in response said that he did not deem it necessary to respond to the opposition questions, which he termed ill-intentioned, arrogant and insignificant. The main opposition, Nepali Congress, has criticized the Prime Minister's very remark as offensive and against the parliamentary norms. Now, there is no obstacle for the current government to carry out its activities on the ground of numerical support in the parliament. The government's performance, however, has remained disappointing given the popular aspirations. The Prime Minister and ministers instead appear to have been indulged in the politics of rhetoric in recent days. The main opposition, Nepali Congress, too has confined itself to criticizing the government rather than playing the role of a constructive opposition. A recent case in this regard is the altercation between the ruling and the opposition parties, merely in terms of choice of words, be it that of the President, Prime Minister and lawmakers. The difference ensued after the President said "my government" while unveiling the government's policies and programs. The opponents of the President remark are of the view that the phrase "our government" instead of "my government" would have been more appropriate or neutral on part of the head of the state. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, who often uses poetry or satirical phrases during his public speeches, has objected to the politics of words that has prevailed in recent days in the country's politics. The tendency of interpreting the leaders' intentions along with the political turn of events and with their impacts merely on the basis of choice of words has taken the public at large by confusion. This has also been leading to unnecessary disputes while giving way to sluggishness to the works related to development and good governance. The proposal made by Land Management Ministry to form a high-level commission with full authority to investigate on the encroached lands across the country has been pending at the Cabinet. The main reason behind the delay has been cited as the lack of agreement on the name of the commission members proposed by the ministry. The Prime Minister and the Office of the Council of Ministers do not agree with the name proposed. During the government's weekly press conference held at the Communications Ministry, government spokesperson Gokul Baskota did not respond clearly to the queries put forth regarding the formation of the commission. Following a lackluster response from Minister Baskota, officials from Land Management Ministry who were present at the event went on to inquire about the delay. The ministry had proposed for the formation of the commission exactly a month ago as per a directive by the Council of Ministers. However, the Communications Minister failed to furnish a clear answer on the formation of the commission. The Land Management Ministry had proposed the commission with a 6-month work schedule and 5 recommended names as its members. However, the proposal file has been pending at the Cabinet after the Cabinet could not come to an agreement regarding the proposed names. Prior to this, the government itself had declared that 113 ropani of government land at Balwatar had been illegally transferred to private individuals. The Council of Ministers had immediately directed the Land Management Ministry to retrieve such lands. It is understandable that the delay is providing sufficient time for the alleged land mafias to tamper with the evidences of land encroachment. And time now for the international update. At least 65 migrants have died after their boat capsized in the Mediterranean coast of Tunisia. United Nations Refugee Agency UNHCR said that 16 people were rescued. Survivors said that the boat left Zuwara in Libya on Thursday and ran into trouble during strong waves. The passengers are understood to have been from sub-Saharan Africa. Thousands of migrants attempt to cross the Mediterranean to Europe every year, and Libya is a key departure point. Those who make the journey often travel in poorly maintained and overcrowded ships, as many have died in the process. In the first 3 months of 2019, some 15,900 refugees and migrants arrived in Europe via the 3 Mediterranean routes. About 164 people died en route between Libya and Europe in the first 4 months of 2019, UNHCR figures have shown. An interactive program was held in the presence of the Chief Minister and lawmakers in Province 2 for the development of tourism sector. In this context, we had asked the participants why has the development of tourism sector in Province 2 lagged behind. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public voice.
वास्तवमा पर्यटन विकास गरेर यो देशलाई समृद्ध बनाउन सकिन्छ भन्ने कुरोमा हाम्रो ध्यान जान सकेको छैन।
केन्द्रमै अधिकारदेखि लिएर हरेक कुरा केन्द्रमै सीमित रहिरहँदाखेरि केन्द्र बाहेकका कुराहरुमा
हरेक क्षेत्रमा हेर्ने दृष्टिकोण फरक रहिरहँदाखेरि हाम्रो प्रदेश नम्बर 2 को पर्यटनको विकास अगाडि बढ्न नसकेको हो।
जुन केन्द्रीकृत शासन प्रणाली थियो त्यसले यो क्षेत्रलाई बाइपास गरेर हेर्यो। बाइपास गरेर हेर्दाखेरि यहाँको पर्यटन परिवर्धन हुन सकेन,
प्रचार प्रसार गर्न नसकेकै हो भन्ने लागेको छ।
अब यो संहितामा गएको मुलुक हो र अहिले प्रदेश सरकारको यो चाहिँ प्रायोरिटीमा पर्नु पर्दछ।
पर्यटकहरू जाने एउटा चाहिँ सर्किट बनाउनु पर्यो।
आएका बजेटहरूलाई पनि हामी सदुपयोग गर्न सकेका छैनौँ।
And time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And your question is, what could be the reason for the delay in the formation of a commission to probe into encroached land? Your options are A, searching for able candidate, B, ploy to let go culprit, and C, lack of willpower. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And those are our latest headlines. Our next English bulletin will air at 11 a.m. Stay with us for more news and entertainment on Kantipur TV HD. Have a great day ahead.